When a video goes viral and you watch it, what's the first signal that your brain tracks? Is it the eyes, the shoulders, the hands?
What I do is I have to remove myself from any sort of bias first. That's the first
Hmm.
thing. And what I do is I run it through and I look for any sort of clusters. So there's actually a coding system that I use that I've been trained. I'm certified and licensed as a certified behavioral analyst coder. So what I do is I look for the first indication of what we call a cluster. So a cluster is a combination of two indicators in at least three of the channels of communication within our body, face, psychophysiology, our voice, our interactional style, etc. And then I pinpoint three behaviors in two of those channels within 7 seconds of a probe. So what I'm looking for is a probe, something that's going to, as a stimulus of a question where a person may want to deviate from the truth, or maybe it's a high stress cognitive load question. And if they're going to be deceptive, there should be at least three indicators in two channels within 7 seconds, and bingo, there you go.
You sound like you're just at a science fair right now. So I can tell that it's a very technical thing that you're doing. So let's get into it. I want to see what some of your reactions are. Can we start with Trump and Mandami?
Sure. Well, I was asked to review that right after, I think, for the New York Post, and it was really surprising to me because I was expecting to see them both battling it off with each
Yeah,
other,
I think
right?
we all were. Let's
Right.
start with
Either
the
for the
handshake. What did you see with that handshake? Was it tension or teamwork?
teamwork, definitely teamwork. There was nothing within that handshake that showed me anything that there was tension or that one was in a dominant position, one or the other. It was a mutual friendship handshake that they had, and a business handshake, a transactional handshake.
Did they look like enemies behaving or two people testing out possibly a real partnership?
I don't even see it testing out a real partnership. I think they established a baseline relationship, some commonalities that they can work from the ground up. So even though they didn't have some things in common, they were able to find some areas that they did have in common and they did believe in, and that they could support one another in it. So I think that's what built that friendship and also de-escalated any sort of friction that they had between us. So I think they both walked out of there pleasantly surprised that actually they liked each other.
Who silently held the power in that room?
President Trump.
As always, right?
Oh, he's a big personality. He was
Yeah.
seated. He was standing. He's big and wide. He spreads out. Mandami, he was when he has a very closed posture. So I call it a candlestick, a fig leaf position. That is not a good position for power. But on the other hand, he could have used it strategically because he was being respectful, right? Because he was in the Oval Office. So if he were to expand himself, he probably would have looked too domineering or controlling in that environment. So he chose to take more of the submissive kind of role, or more of the classic controlled positioning.
Let's move on to the Wicked press tour. Wicked, one of the biggest movies out right now. But a lot of people, it appears that the majority of people watching the interactions between two of its stars, Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande, people are left feeling confused, maybe even uncomfortable. What are you interpreting in their body language with each other when you see them in the videos during this press tour?
So when I looked at the interaction between Ariana and a fan, we saw Cynthia in the back reviewing. But what was really interesting, and most people may not have picked it up, there was a form of rage that was in her eyes. You could see her eyes open up so wide, the white sclera above her eye, and her face became very intense. So there was a combination of fear and rage. She was very angry, but she was trying to contain it and conceal it. And that's why she had such a tenseness in her facial expression and that fixation in her eyes. Actually, I found that to be quite alarming because I teach threat analysis, and
Mm.
that is a precursor of someone that actually could commit violence. So
Ooh.
when I saw that, that is actually a very scary thing because that's telling me that behind closed doors, she may have a problem with control.
Do you think she might be jealous of people who give Ariana attention? I mean, you watch that, some people who are fans and think it might be harmless could argue that it's Cynthia being protective over Ariana. But like you said, it looks like it's controlling. On a deeper level, how concerning should that behavior be looked at as?
I think it's very concerning because, in my work, I remove my feelings from it. I
Hmm.
remove my own personal opinion from it. I remove my own bias. All I do is look at the indicators that are proven in science, has been vetted in the field when it comes to threat analysis and behavioral analysis. And when I see that extreme fixation and combination of a scary cocktail, really, which is that of the high level of jealousy, I got to tell you something, Ariana, you need to run.
Okay, warning from a body language expert right there. Let's move on to another topic if you have the time. Erica Kirk, the widow of Charlie Kirk, there is a lot of judgment being cast on Erica Kirk right now for how she's been publicly grieving her husband. Some people are accusing her of branding tragedy. From your expertise, and I know that this is a sensitive matter, how do you tell performance from survival when you look at something like this? And what's your take on what you've seen from Erica, how she's been behaving?
So I actually had a video that was sent to me right after the first time when she was after her husband died and she was in his office and she was standing behind him, and a friend of mine who is an investigator said, "I want you to look at this video. There's just something up with this girl. There's just something weird about it." And I looked at it and I says, "No, there's nothing weird about it." I said, "This is the way she grieves." So is it the fact that she's dotting her face, her tears, or she's trying to stay strong, or she's trying to withhold it because she's trying to, keep herself together? There was nothing in her facial expressions and her body language that signaled to me that this is a person that was inauthentic. What I saw was as a
But do you believe
person.
that those tears are real? Because when she's blotting her eyes, sometimes we don't even see tears.
Well, do you have a close up on that?
I mean, there are a lot of pictures on the internet where it looks
Yeah,
like, I mean, she's wearing heavy like Tammy Faye Baker style makeup, and
right.
the mascara is not running.
Yeah, I mean, that's something you would have to need to look right at. And if there were tears coming down and she's dabbing them, then they're authentic. But, 'cause that falls into the crocodile tear category. And there are some people that don't show emotion and they only show a little bit of expression. So it's really about how she's actually conceiving and trying to figure out what is actually going on. I personally, when I've reviewed everything that she's done, I will say, in my natural mind, I'd say, is that what a grieving wife would look like? And then I go to myself in my training and go, so what science and research backs up what grieving looks like? Okay, so everyone grieves differently. So what I'm seeing is someone that is trying to stand strong. I'm seeing someone that has a deep faith that is unwavering. I see her as a Ruth in the Bible. She is one of these kind of people that is, and sometimes, and I've seen this before, people within their faith is so strong that in the hardest, most horrible moments, they are the strongest. So, and then they break down months later,
Later on.
later.
I mean, I know people who like they've lost someone and then they cry months later. So you think she's just trying to be as strong as possible now?
I think
She
she is
might be in
trying.
shock or something. Do you
I
think
don't
it
even.
was, I mean, how about when the video, I know I sent you the video where she was speaking at his memorial service and she walks out to fireworks, pyrotechnics. Was there anything odd in the way that she walked out to you, or was she just trying to stay strong?
I think that she was just trying to stay strong. I don't think that she would have walked out there knowing the gravity of what she was going to present, in front of millions of people to be scrutinized. I don't think that she did anything that was concerning to me, but I do think that there was a performance part of her. So, in other words, I'm going to put on the strong, survival person, a woman that's going through a difficult time and trying to stand strong, right? And so that is the kind of the mask. But
Okay.
we all wear masks. So when we think about, was that inappropriate? I would say And I've analyzed a lot of people that have lost loved ones, or someone that is they've murdered their spouse, and then they come on with the crocodile tears, and there'll be something that'll be off. And it won't make sense, and I have to go back and I have to look at it again and see if I can find a correlation. I think that with Erica Kirk, I think her whole beingness is she has always been a performer. She has been, she was Miss,
She was
I
in
don't know,
pageants, yeah.
pageants. She's used to being out in front of people, being able to control her emotions. And even in this tough situation, we don't know what we don't know. Was she crying behind the scene? Was she crying when she came up off the stage? We don't know what we don't know. So I see her as a survivor that is full of faith, and she's going to come out, and she's not going to let anything else get her down, and she's going to hold on to that faith. I have concern with that, only because there is going to be a time where she's going to have to emotionally deal with it.
Well, Susan Constantine, thank you for your time. I appreciated this fascinating conversation. It was a lot of fun. I hope you'll come back and join us in the new year when some more crazy stuff goes down in 2026.
And we're in Florida here, where there'll be a lot of them.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.